irrational. All right, find the sum of radical 4. So again, the word is sum, so we're adding. So radical 4 plus 4 radical 8. And once again, I don't want you to do this on paper. I want you to do it in the calculator. And the reason being is we're going to be tracking the answer the whole time to make sure that we're not doing anything wrong. So in other words, if I thought that I just add in these, like maybe add the outsides, so that'd be 5, radical add the insides, I can clearly see that my thought process is wrong. Do something else. And this is you cannot add or subtract radicals until the radicand, the number inside, are the same. So right now they are not the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the question down again because I need the question there to keep track of my answers, right? So this answer is the same. And we're going to break it down because to make these the same, I just need to simplify. So break down 4. How do I break down 4? 2 times 2. And again, every time you do something, look, the number changed. So what did I do? I put 0.2 instead of multiply by 2. So keep track of this answer the whole time. All right. Break. Well, I guess we can deal with this. All right. Do you see a book? I do a book of what? 2. So I'm going to take that outside. I'm going to take a 2 outside. All right. And the calculator doesn't like that there's nothing in here. So we're just going to delete it. Okay. Keep track of that number. Nothing changed. So I'm okay. All right, come here. Let's break this down. 8 is 2 times 4. All right, I'm still looking good. Break down 4, 2 times 2. All right, I'm still looking good. Do you see any books? I do. A book of 2. So we're going to take a book of 2 outside. And again, without that book, see the numbers are different. The numbers are back the same, so I'm good. Let's combine this. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so I'm good so far. All right, so now here's the problem. This one doesn't have a radical. This one does. So I cannot combine them because remember, I can only combine them if the radicand, which is the number inside the radical, is the same. So I cannot combine it. So this is actually how you write the answer, just like that. So it's weird, but that's how it is. 2 plus 8 radical 2 is my result. Now, is that rational or irrational? It is irrational, all right, because it cannot be written as a ratio of 2 integers and its decimal expansion does not terminate or repeat. Just look right here, right? You can't write this as a fraction of integers, and you can see that it's not a repeating decimal, and it doesn't end. It keeps going forever and ever. All right, so find the sum of 4 radical 2 and 2 radical 8. So what does sum mean? It means that you're adding, correct? So this is 4 radical 2 plus 2 radical 8. And actually, instead of you doing this on paper, I want you to always do it in the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and type that up in the calculator. So 4 radical 2 plus 2 radical 8. And the reason I'm having you do this is that you're going to keep track of this answer to make sure that you're okay. So we're adding radicals. If I just try to add this in, any kind of way, let's see, I thought the answer was, I don't know, maybe you added the outside, this is wrong, but I just want to show you it added the inside. Let's say that's what I thought. You see this? This tells you, hey, you can't do that. So the answer is always going to be the radicands, or the number inside the radical must be the same before you can add them. All right, so we got to make these the same. So we're going to break down all the radicals before we can add them. So can I break down 2? No. So this one's going to stay the same. But I can break down this one right here. So we're going to break this down within our question, right? So right now we have radical 8. How can I break down 8? All right, so this is going to be 2 times 4. And again, as long as this is not changing, you're okay. How can I break down 4? 2 times 2. As long as this is not changing, I know I'm okay. Do you see any books? Yes. 2 cards make 1 book. So I see a book of 2. So I'm going to put a 2 outside. So you see these numbers are different because my book isn't outside yet, right? I put my book outside. Look at that. The numbers are back the same. So I'm okay. All right, let's go ahead and simplify 2 times 2, which is going to give me what? 4. Again, I'm still okay. Now look at this. I have 4 radical 2 plus 4 radical 2. Once the radicands, or the number inside the radical, are the same, I can add them. So that's like saying if I had 4x plus 4x, what would you say that answer is? 8x. So it's the same thing here. It's saying 4 radical 2 plus 4 radical 2 is 8 radical 2. And look at that. The number did not change. All right, so the sum, coming back to the question, of that is 8 radical 2. Now, if you still have a radical in your answer after you simplify, what can you tell me? Is it rational? Oh, this goes here. Is it rational or irrational? It is irrational because it cannot be written as a ratio of 2 integers, and its decimal expansion does not terminate or repeat. So if you look at the answer choices, not the answer choices, but the answer here, it's a non-terminating decimal, and it keeps going, and there's no repeating decimal. So this is irrational. All right, so this question is saying find the product. All right, and what does product mean? Multiplication. So it's saying 4 radical 6 times radical 10. And again, we're going to work in our calculator just to make sure that our answer choice or what we're getting as an answer is correct. All right, so you copy the question down twice because one is going to be there for a reference and the other one is going to be there for us to kind of manipulate. All right, so when we're multiplying radicals, okay, the radicand does not have to be the same. You multiply the outsides and you multiply the insides and then you simplify. So multiplying the outside, 4 times 1 is 4. And then multiplying the inside, 6 times 10 is 60 under the radical, right? Now, instead of me multiplying it out, because I'm going to have to break it out, I'm just going to do the times 10 in here. And you can see that that didn't change anything because 6 times 10 is 60. All right, I'm still okay. Now I can break this down individually. So if I break down 6, that's 2 times 3. I'm still okay. Just keep looking right here. If I break down 10, that's 2 times 5. I'm still okay and can't break anything down. I'm going to put this in order. So I'm going to put the times 2 together. All right, so again, I'm making sure I'm still okay. Do you see any books? Yep, I see a book of 2. So we're going to take that book outside. Am I still okay? I am. The numbers are still matching. 4 times 2 is 8. And do you see any more books in here? No, so we're done. So all we have to do is combine that. So 3 times 5 is 15. So you see the numbers are still matching up. So this result is 8 radical 15. And you can see that the numbers are the same. You can already see that this is irrational, right? So if there's a radical left in the answer, it's irrational. Why? So this is irrational because it cannot be written as a ratio of 2 integers, and its decimal expansion, this expanded part, does not terminate or repeat. So again, the question is find the product. All right, so what does product mean? Multiplication. So this is 5 radical 10 times 4 radical 6. And again, we're going to write the question down twice, and you can just copy and paste. I don't have my keypad on me, so I'm having to type it out, but just Control C, Control V. Numbers are matching up, so we're good. We're multiplying, so remember you multiply the outside, so I'm saying this is going to be 5 times 4, which is 20. All right, so multiplying the outside, see the number hasn't changed, right? Multiply the insides of the radicals, so it's 10 times 6. All right, and again, make sure the number isn't changing. So my theory on how to solve this problem is correct. All right, let's break it down. So how does 10 break down? 2 times 5. Again, comparing your numbers, they're not changing, they're fine. Break down 6, 2 times 3. Oops, something's wrong. What did I do? I put a decimal, so be careful. 2 times 3. See, numbers are matching. Let's put this all in order. So I'm going to take this times 5 and put it at the end. All right, do you see any books? I do. A book of 2. So we're going to put a book of 2 outside times 2. Numbers are still matching up, so we're still good. 2 times 20 is 40. Numbers are matching, so I'm still good. And do you see any other books? No. So 3 times 5 is 15. And my numbers are still matching, and I'm simplified. All right, so here's my answer. My result is 40 radical 15. And the question is that rational or irrational? Again, irrational because it cannot be written as a ratio of 2 integers, and its decimal expansion right here does not terminate or repeat. So again, find the sum. So this is asking for you to add them. So we're going to be adding 3 radical 9 plus 3 radical 68. We're going to copy the question down twice. Oh, wait a second. Do I need to copy the question down? No, because I have a number, right? My answer is 21. So this is amazing. So sometimes I can get away with not having to work it out because the answer is what? Is it rational or irrational? It is rational because it can be written as a ratio of 2 integers. That would be 21 over 1, because 21 divided by 1 is 21. That's a ratio of 2 integers. And its decimal expansion does terminate or repeat. So I can write 21 as 21.0, that terminates, or I can write it as 21.0000000 repeating, right? So again, this is a rational result. All right, so this is find the product, okay? So we're multiplying them together. So we have 2 radical 25 times 3 radical 4. I'm going to copy the question down twice. No, we're not. Why aren't we copying it down? Because we have an answer. So that answer is 60. All right. And the result is rational. Why is it rational? Because it can be written as a ratio of two integers. Its decimal expansion does terminate or repeat because it's a rational number. Right, so those questions that we've done previously are questions that you're not given answer choices. When you're given answer choices, what you can do is you can use your answer choices to see the answer. So if you're given answer choices, go ahead and just put your question and your answer choices in the calculator and match them up. So the question is, which value is a rational number? I'm just going to type in all the answers because even though I find the answer, I'm still going to explain it. Therefore, I might as well just type everything in. I need a fraction. On the top, I have radical 3. Arrow out, radical 12. On the bottom, I have 5. Making sure you're copying exactly what you see. On the bottom, I have radical 3 minus radical 3. All right, so I've put all my answer choices in the calculator. Now I'm just answering the question. Which value is irrational? So remember, irrational doesn't repeat, doesn't terminate, cannot be written as a fraction of integers. Okay, so that's a fraction of integers. That's a fraction of integers. That's a decimal that terminates. The only one that doesn't is this very first one, A, because you can see there's no repeating. It doesn't end and cannot be written as a fraction. So that answer would be A. So just knowing definitions and putting in the answer choices, you'd be able to get the answer. All right, so just make sure you read the question. Sometimes the question changes, so make sure you're reading. Irrational, okay? So doesn't terminate, doesn't repeat, and can be written as a fraction. I'm going to put in all my answer choices, but for you, as soon as you find your answer, you can just stop. In fact, we'll talk about it as we go. Is that rational or irrational? That's rational, so it's not A. I'm going to go on to B, radical 4 times radical 16. Is that rational or irrational? That's also rational, so we're going to go into C. You do divide to put the fraction, radical 25. Come out of that, because if I stayed in here and I try to do that, see that? That's weird, right? That's not what it's supposed to be. So come out with the arrow, radical 121, and then 11 on the bottom. Rational, irrational, still rational. So it must be the last one, radical 5 minus radical 3. All right, irrational, right? Doesn't repeat, doesn't terminate, cannot be written as a fraction of integers. So D would be my answer. All right, select all that apply. This means there's more than one answer, so you got to check all of them. Select all that apply. Which answer choices are equivalent? This word equivalent means the same as 10 radical 5. So if I'm looking for one that's the same as 10 radical 5, it means I need to put 10 radical 5 in the calculator because I need one that's the same as this. So we don't even have to work these out. We can just put them in the calculator, which is the great thing about multiple choice test-taking strategies. Put the question in the calculator and all the answer choices and see which ones match. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first one is 2 radical 250. Oops, 250. Does that look the same as this? It does not, so that one does not work. We're going to check B. B is 5 radical 2 times radical 5. Does those match? They do not, so B is not it. So on to C. 5 radical 5 plus 5 radical 5. Okay, this matches. So C is one of the answer choices, but remember, it's select all that apply, which means there are additional answer choices. So we're going to keep going. So 5 radical 10. Nope. Next one, radical 50 times radical 5. Nope. Next one, or the last one, radical 5 times radical 10 times radical 10. Yes. Okay, so my two answers, I have two answers, C and F. So again, when you have a multiple choice, you're putting it in the calculator, both question and answer, and it's just matching it up. So let's see you do one. All right, so this is a select all that apply, which means there might be multiple answers. Which answer choices are equivalent, the same as 5 radical 10? So you put your question in the calculator. I want them all to be 5 radical 10. And then you put all your answer choices and just match the decimal. If it's the same, then it's the same. So let's say the first one, is that the same? No, so that's not an answer choice. Let's try the second one. So 5 radical 2 times radical 5. Is that the same? Oh, yep, that is the same. So B is a correct answer. We're going to keep going. C is 5 radical 5 plus 5 radical 5. Do those match? Nope. Next one, radical 250. Do those match? They do. So D is an answer. All right, keep going. Radical 50 times radical 50 times radical 5. Yes, that also matches, so E is an answer. And the last one, radical 5 times radical 10 times radical 10. No. So these are my three answer choice, B, D, and E.